Hiyo ya umekatisha.
Okay.
Rudia basi. Na vizuri ukaia ni meradia leo.
Asante sana, tupigie karibu makofi. Well done. Asante sana. Let's have a seat. Okay, asante sana. His Excellency the Governor, the Deputy Governor, members present, allow me not to go into recognitions, into introductions, because we did that yesterday and we became one family so that we save time. I know there are members of the County Assembly, former members of the County of Parliament are here. All of us are distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and most important, tuko hapa sababu ya miraa yetu. CC members are here, chief officers are here, traders are here, regulatory bodies, authorities are here. Everybody is here, the national government, the county government, tuko kitu kimoja. Allow me not to go into introducing and recognizing all of you so that at least we save time. Tuingile nilwe, elea tuwetikinye. Kama tumekubali hiyo tupigie makofi. Asante sana. Your Excellency, yesterday we did the opening ceremony. Then we went to very technical issues in the sessions that we ran yesterday. But we didn't get to know. There are those of us who are already ahead, trying to do value addition of our miraa, but we didn't get time to at least know what they are doing. They had a very good exhibition, which is continuing even today. So under the guidance of the governor, we adjust our program just a little bit. We create like 20 minutes or so for our exhibitors to tell us what they are actually doing. We need to hear that story so that we know where we are, what are the challenges, how we surmount those challenges should be our business now. So Kevin, Vega, where are you? We'd like to start with you. Kevin? And kindly, all the exhibitors who are here have a sample of the product that you have. We need to see it, appreciate it, and tujivunie. Hiyo ni yetu, but nobody can do this. Kevin, amepotelea wapi? Atafuti wewe. Haya. Kevin, let us appreciate this gentleman. Kevin, with the Minister of Agriculture. Kevin, I think 5 minutes is enough for you.
Thank you, MC. Your Excellency, the Governor, Deputy Governor, and all other protocols observed. Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to showcase some of the value-added miraa products. And with me here, I have miraa whiskey and miraa wine, all made from miraa. Also, other products in our portfolio include Miraa juice, Miraa energy drink, Miraa guarana. We also have Miraa sweets and Miraa tea bags. Yes. The challenges that we've been facing are mainly to do with licensing, especially KEBS, because of classification of Miraa as a drug. However, we are going to address that in the presentations to come. Thank you. And karibuni sana kwa stand.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Gavana wa Miraa Miraa juice, Miraa peremende. Na gavana mwingine amepatia Miraa primacy. He has gotten under Kira tomorrow. If you go into history books, yule ambaye amepeleka Miraa internationally, he goes world over. You know there is a Miraa international, Miraa Conference going on. Hiyo picha ipigwe, hata Yesu akirudi hiyo picha itakuwa inaonekana.
We'll bring all of them in. We'll say they are safe. We are going to bring everything before you.
Asante sana. Thank you, Governor. Thank you for that. Okay. Let's now listen to Bwana Maore here with his products. Tukaribisha.
Thank you, Bwana MC, Your Excellency, Governor of Meru, Deputy Governor, all protocols observed. Now, I don't know, I'm going to give you a small brief. My journey started some 12 years ago. And first, my interest was how to avoid organic packaging for Miraa. And I wanted to conceive or come up with something that preserves Miraa without using the grain banana leaves. That one was the most difficult thing, very elusive. It took me how many years? From 10 years. In between, I was able to make a chewing gum. Then there is the infusion as a drink, like a tea. Of course, there is a fudge and a toffee. And then there is the dried Miraa, and it's packed. And what I started looking for came last, the packaging. This is Miraa inside here. I packed it on Sunday, last Sunday, 24th, at 4 p.m. Of course, I bought it from Pumwani. And now I want us to see how it looks like today. This is how it is. 4 days later. No refrigeration, no banana leaves. And this is one of the reasons why we are unable to access the European market, because of the fear of bioterrorism. So they disregard, or they want us to disregard the organic packaging. So we've had this one for the last 2 years, and our market is the farmer. And how do I access the farmer? Do I go to the farmer and tell him, look here, man, you must pack your Miraa in this active packaging? It's very hard for me, unless in partnership with the devolved unit or the national government. And I believe I'm in safe hands today, that now the government of the county of Meru is aware of this. The other problem is, this one I think KEBS has no problem with this one, the packaging, because it is not Miraa, it is the packaging. This one we cannot have a problem with the KEBS here. The problem here is the market. Accessing the market. The market is inside here. It is domestic. It is the farmer. It's not anybody else. But this one is now where KEBS becomes a problem. I filed my application in 2016 for a standard. And KEBS keeps on shifting goals. At first they told me that there is no scientific proof that Miraa is safe for human consumption. So at our cost, we commissioned the University of Nairobi to prepare a safety profile for Miraa. See now that one, that such a research is done, doesn't belong to me, it belongs to everybody. Because if Miraa is safe, it is safe for everybody. I mean, everybody is supposed to know that. So that document is not mine, it is for everybody. Then I took that findings to KEBS. Again, they did not give us the standard. Finally, we applied for a private standard. A private standard is usually above the general standard. They refused. In fact, they referred us to NACADA for the same. So you can imagine NACADA being given the responsibility of developing a standard by KEBS. They are, anyway, that's the end of the long story. Thank you.
Thank you, very appreciate it. Pass through where the governor is. We have to solve that frustration. Pigie yeye makofi tafadhali. Anasema kwani challenge iko Sakijo where Sakijo? Come on. KEBS have no problem with packaging, but where the real matter is an issue.
And this is Miraa Conference. And this is a packaging which will save the banana green leaves.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate. Panelists, be ready. Chair, angalia watu wako kama wako area because I'm ushering you in after this. Or is there any other exhibitor? Any other exhibitor? One more. Thank you, Sakidi.
Your Excellency, the Governor, Deputy Governor, all protocols observed, good morning. Like you heard, my name is Sakijo Kimadi Mujuri, the National Chairman of the Nyambene Miraa Trade Association, Nyamita. I can see some of our officials here, Mzalendo, we were not able to be with you yesterday. Welcome. For us, as an association, we advocate for the organic farming of Miraa. So, we are going to be demonstrating the raw ingredients of everything that is input into the processed Miraa that you have been shown by the other exhibitors. We say that, first of all, the times have dictated that we have gloves for hygiene and corona prevention. So the industry is almost 70% compliant, Governor, with the corona protocols. We should be having coats, but we were not aware that we were supposed to do this presentation. Now, first of all, the thing, many of you, the thing that is being talked about is, this is a traditional mode of packing Miraa. Naturally, it has served our purpose, but now it's being overtaken by events. Governor, let me be very specific. This sole item in the Miraa value chain employs over 50,000 women at the farming level and at the selling level only. The banana leaf. And before we throw it away, it's also being adopted as a mode of packaging. In the East, it is the forced banana. It is not just a banana leaf, it is a forced banana. It is called a center. Of course, we also have the other thing, which is the rope that also employs so many women. Now, I'm going to concentrate on only 2 items, and then my colleague will take over and manage the rest. This has already been mentioned. It is dried Miraa. It is dried Miraa. We are going this direction because of the perishability of Miraa. Yesterday we were told our vehicles are running because we need to get the Miraa to the market fresh. We also learned that it's not only fresh. Apparently there is a chemical process that goes on after the Miraa has been harvested. Some chemicals, I cannot remember the particular names, they were very difficult. I think carbon transforms itself to something else as we are moving. So we have to get it to the consumers as fast as possible. But now, what you've been shown is carbon-free Miraa. This is natural. Nothing else has been removed except water. So immediately you take it and put it in water, it becomes just the usual Miraa again, and you can chew as normal. And you also drink that water, so you have to wash your hands before starting to eat. These are the Miraa sachets, also 100% natural. This we have to use with what is called a poach machine to extract the infusion. You cannot just put it in water. You are not going to have the 100% extraction of the value of this sachet. You need an extraction the poach machine to extract the Miraa in there. Now, for us, we rely heavily as the association. I've said again, we advocate 100% preservation or holding the Miraa in its natural form, because that is what our markets are demanding. We have markets that have been said to be in Israel. They say that you don't change the Miraa in any way. Immediately you change the Miraa in any way, you move into something else. It stops becoming Miraa and becomes now a manufactured produce. I'm going to give my colleague a chance to explain the other items, the actual Miraa now, the various categories of Miraa that we have, so that you can see what you have in the market. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, our Governor, Deputy Governor, all protocols observed. I'm here my names are Kamentu Mwenda Caxton. I represent the most oppressed, the business community, the farmers, and the exporters. Really, we face a lot of challenges. It means that it is as if we were neglected. But having seen this, I can see now our able governor is doing much, and we are going far. We have the challenge, you hand off the Israel market. I'm the one who personally paid for my fare. Went there, secured the license, but when I returned back here, the airlines could hear none of this. The Kenya Airways, which is our pride. We went to the Ethiopian airline, who are our main competitor. They only managed to give us 100 kilos. The route is very much controlled by them because they have their own Miraa, which they produce, and they take it to the Israel market. The market is very potential, which grows by 10% every year. So I request the county government of Meru to help us see whether, in conjunction with the national government, see whether we can communicate with the Israeli government, because we can really help our people, the farmers, who are very much affected by the scrambles that we have in the Somali market, the close of the European market. When our Miraa goes to Israel, it can access all the European markets because they have no restrictions with their produce. They will go there, they will package, they will send it to every market in the world. And we can have a good market because every week I think we can take 3 tons. But due to lack of transportation means, we only managed to take 100 kilos. I've been there since 2019. Yeah, I went there 2019 January. So we have been struggling. So, Honorable Governor, we urge you, talk to the relevant government ministries to help us. Then, let me come to the produce that we normally take it there. We have, this is what is called giza, which is normally consumed here locally by most of our customers, the Somalis. We have a variety called kangeta, which is longer enough, like 30 centimeters. It's also locally. We have lare, which we normally use to export to UK, Holland, and even South Africa. We have Colombo, which you can normally see it in our local shops here. We have Alele, which is also a variety that we use it here locally, and we use it also to transport it to export it to Somalia. We have lare. We have special, which is also very good for export to our neighbors' market. So, yeah, we have what we call Maine, which we normally present to our bride. So, I think our bride today is our Honorable Governor. For the work well done. We have really made a milestone. And I hope, with the scientific approach, we'll enter any market with our chest open. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Huyu amejua. Unajua kutakuwa na harusi kubwa sana next year August. Na anasema the bride ni huyo peke yake. So apatie hiyo. Kwa hiyo maneno imekwisha. Wajau anania morano. Morano ya August next year. Huyo ni hiyo. Si mnajua ni gani? Hiyo maneno imekwisha. Hiyo ikipeanwa, you guys you are all witnesses, you can see. Yes, baadaye. Haya. Kubidia breaks. Haya. Nikikaribia hapo. Good. Nikikaribia vizuri hiyo ni ile harusi ya next year August. Naisha peano. Sio maneno kuisha. Naonyesha hiyo vizuri. Asante sana. Nina community. I mean community. Sasa exhibitor moja alafu tufunge.
Your Excellency, the Governor, and all protocols observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Murithi Kimencho, and we here not to present a physical approach of this aspect of Miraa, but we are a team that has come up with innovations, ideas, and other ways of carrying out the whole of this business Miraa industry. So as a team of both the young and our advisors from across the entire Meru nation, from Dhochin to Tonyere, as well as other Kenyan communities, we identify several gaps when it comes to the entire Miraa industry. We realize that we have over-relied on the assistance of the government to seek for new markets. So in 2019, we sat down a team of several people, a group of people, and we did a thorough research on potential markets in the world. And we realized that there are 59 countries where there are potential markets and which do not restrict the Miraa business, except for a few regulations that we have to follow. So we did a personalized research, for a personalized proposal for each and every country on how our Miraa can get to those countries and how we can have our own people get to do the product activation in those countries. So we sat down and asked ourselves, how do we take Miraa to these countries? So we realized we cannot really carry the what Sakijo was showing us to go and hang ile bendera wa Meru pale kwa shops. So what we did, we came up with a model of changing the culture in which we enjoy our crop. We came up with we engaged our architects and they drew some structures whereby we have Miraa supermarkets, which has all the varieties of Miraa. So how do we do these supermarkets? We set a different culture in which this business should be done, or rather the chewing culture. We have a supermarket that has all the varieties of Miraa. You pop inside and get your Miraa, and we actually using the weighing scale to determine the amount of Miraa that you purchase, so that we also do not have these fluctuations on pricing, so that if it's a Soroba, then maybe Soroba is a quarter. And once you purchase your Miraa, in that compound, we have what we calling cat cafes. And then these cat cafes, it's not just cat cafes. These are customized for various interest groups. We have the cat cafes for the VVIPs, where even our governor and maybe even the president wants to chew something, he can just come purchase this Miraa and then pop into the VVIP cafe. If it's the Muslim world who subscribe to a certain culture, they also have their cat cafes around that compound. And even for a group like the Merus, those who even like chewing outside the houses, we have come up with a way of uprooting grown Miraa trees, and then we plant them around those compounds so that you can either chew under the tree, you can pop into a cafe, you can come with your can, pack it in and chew. But not only that, we want to make it a prestigious place, a high-end place. That is how we came up with an idea of setting laboratories in where Miraa is produced. Not only laboratories, that Miraa has to go through the check so that we determine that it doesn't have chemicals that are harmful to someone's health. So we're setting up those laboratories in the villages and where our Miraa shall be collected. Once we have that, even the tongis, we have them fully hygienic, with aprons, with the gloves and everything, so that as Miraa goes through the chain, you can be assured of the quality. We want to change how Miraa is being chewed. Then, what we're calling them is the Miraa centers. Once we have these Miraa centers, someone can go to, maybe, let's say you're in Migori County, and you want to look for a place where you can purchase your Miraa. All you need to do is to find out where is that Miraa center, where quality and everything is assured. And our determination is to have Miraa centers in every county, in the 47 counties. Then, these are the same models that we are going to replicate to the 59 countries. Now, how do we get to the 59 countries? We want to send commercial attaches in those countries. Then we shall be sending free samples to the countries where the product has not been really very well introduced, so that these commercial attaches, using the locals, can introduce the new product to those markets using the free samples.
So that your colleague will get 1 minute.
Yes. Now, we came up, what else did we do? We realized that the PR around the Miraa industry is what has really negatively affected the whole industry. So we went on a rampage of doing positive PR for the Miraa industry. We first of all started by showing the whole nation that Miraa is really, really legal. We went up to KICC rooftop and we chewed. Unfortunately, they even sent GSU to bring us down because we went there at the helipad. But we resisted and told them Miraa is a scheduled cash crop. And the whole media was there to cover it. Was aired in all the stations, both mainstream and our local media. Then what is the other PR activities that we are doing? We have organized a series of PR activities that we want to use so that we make sure everyone we demystify the myths that are surrounding this good cash crop. So we've gone ahead and mobilized the whole Meru community. Yes. We've gone ahead and mobilized the whole Meru community. We've met the Jorin Chekes. We've met all the mainstream church bishops and pastors. We've also met the entire business community, and we're still moving ahead so that we also meet our political leaders. This is to mobilize the entire Meru community in the next PR activity, which will be going to Nyambene Hills to do plantation of Miraa trees in a farm that already Jorin Cheki is also involved in allocating us, where we'll have a cultural farm, a public Miraa farm for the entire community. We're also going to do a plantation of Miraa on 30th of December at Mount Kenya Batian Peak. If you've invited all the media, they are ready to cover, so that we plant a gala tree next to where the Kenyan flag stands. So these are some of the PR activities that we do, and we would like to invite now officially the county government, so we shall be dispatching the letters in that regard, so that we all participate next month in that activity of planting Miraa in Nyabene Hills.
The next one.
We'll have a more personalized time to elaborate on the whole idea. Thank you very much.
Asante. Let's appreciate him. Nafikia kwa kwanza na pale, hiyo sentence ya mwisho umalizie pale. We have to move. You have to move. So that is the last exhibitor, so that we get into this business.
Your Excellency the Governor, the Deputy Governor, all protocols observed. Good morning. Yeah, my name is Joshua Aremi from Miraa University. I'm an associate professor in food science. What we are exhibiting is, I'm happy that Miraa processing is taking a scientific approach. We have seen several products, particularly in dried Miraa, where the science is showing that the active compound changes. So in Miraa University, we have developed dried Miraa products, but applying different technologies rather than solar drying or oven drying. The sample I have here is like instant coffee. So we have applied here, this is freeze dried. And through a freeze drying process, you are able to retain most of active ingredients. This can be put in cup of water, similar the way you put instant tea or instant coffee. And also we have prepared infusion bags. I had some, but yesterday, because of demand, they were taken by people who came along. Also not through solar drying or oven drying. It's through freeze drying and spray drying. So this is a different approach to dry Miraa to be able to preserve most of the active ingredients. As a university, I would wish we work with all those who are processing, because for us it's research oriented, so that we are able to advance the crop. Thank you.
Asante. Thank you so much. Let us appreciate all our exhibitors. They've done wonderful actions. Mheshimiwa Joina Tuliaru, Session Chair, where are you? Kindly come over. David Diomo, Mwenda Winnie Mukiri, are you in the house? Asante sana. Kevin Moshan, Kevin Maure Idullah, Safari Aguri, Safari. Okay, come over. Yeah. Our session chair is Mheshimiwa Joina Tuliaru. Our chair Antoliero, former Member of Parliament. I wish to invite him so that he can guide us on how we take the presentation. 10 minutes each. Let us appreciate Mheshimiwa.
Thank you so much, Mr. His Excellency, the Governor, Miraa County, the Deputy, our invited guests, members of Parliament present, sitting and former, our honorable members of the County Assembly, all the Miraa delegates, farmers, the exhibitors, good morning. Let me take this opportunity this morning, one, to thank the county government for organizing this very informative Miraa Scientific Conference. Two, let me also say thank you so much for picking on me to chair this morning's session, and I will not disappoint you. Besides wearing the political hat, you will be assured that the one who will be guiding you is a real professional. Allow me, MC and the Governor, just to mention two things. One, as the session chair, I was here yesterday, and we all were taken through the scientific presentations that were given by our experts from KEMRI specifically and the universities. And the issues that really came out is that Miraa is not a drug as perceived. So what remains from there? It is now, the arena is now to the growers of Miraa, the business people and the Yembe community now to take it over from there. And the other bit now that came out from their research is that there are those two chemicals that are in Miraa. Since also I'm not an expert in that area, but there was the carine, there's the cathinone. But the whole issue is that there was also a reference to the leaf of Miraa, which has been tested, analyzed. And then there's also somebody raised yesterday the issue of the skin of the Miraa. So can we also, in the further research, can we ensure that these two are properly addressed so that whether these compounds are depicting one and the same thing? And lastly on that bit is that we all know that Miraa has got a shelf life. Now this shelf life, as one of the exhibitors put it here, they use a banana leaf. So from that organic point of view, the banana leaf must be preserving either the two chemicals or one of them or the other compounds found in it. We also want to know this shelf life, how to preserve those chemicals, how long can it take? So, Madam Governor, I would suggest that even after some days of picking Miraa, like say from Meru to Nairobi, maybe after 4 or 5 days, they can also test that Miraa to show whether the chemicals are still alive. And if so, how long can it be preserved? And I'm sure it is part of the researches that are going on preservation. Lastly, Governor, this one came from you, is that now that the scientists have done their job and the Miraa now is safe and all that, the ball now is to our people. And thank you for the exhibitors who have shown us today the Miraa wine, Miraa juice, and all that, and even the Miraa chewing gum, and even the Miraa powder. But then there's the issue that the government is talking variously. But thank you, Madam Governor. Our guest of honor yesterday, Matiang, assured that the NACADA issue and all those government agencies that talk variously, they will all be brought so that they start reading from the same script, including Kenya Airways. I think without now further ado on that, is that I want now to introduce our presenters today. And we will start by inviting one of us from Igembe, Mr. Maure Ithula, who is going to do a presentation on the untapped potential in Miraa. Take challenge our people that Miraa now is a raw material. We have seen the wine, which is now a product from Miraa, and others will come in. Please take lead, because once others learn all this, you even see even in Europe where Miraa is not being accepted at the moment, you find that they will start actually entering the industry to have other products from Miraa. So take lead, otherwise we could be saying that they used to be ours. So without further ado, please let me invite Maure Ithula. Maure Ithula comes from Igembe. In fact, he comes from Tuati, Nadu area. He is an agricultural person. And I also know him personally. In fact, allow me to say that when he was at the university doing his course, I used to be, during the holidays, I was actually the first employer to get him some job to be doing. And, out of those kind of things, also I'm proud to see now that he has gone now, taken that stride to ensure that he has even come up with a Miraa product. But let me not talk for him, but let me invite him now to do his presentation. Mr. Maure, please, giving you 6 minutes to wind up. Karibu.
Once again, Chairman, thank you very much. Again, all protocols observed. Actually, what he says is true. The first job that I got, I was still a student, first year, first semester, and we were paid a lot of money, a lot of it, 120 shillings per day. And I'm telling you, at the end of the month, our pockets would be full with money. 20 shillings note each, 3,600 shillings, a lot of money. Now, my presentation might not be as short as 6 minutes. I'm brief on my journey of 12 years. And we start when the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was founded in 1932, Miraa from Meru, and already outgrown Kenya's domestic market to establish itself as a stimulant of choice in the Middle East Kingdom and its environs. Key exporters were, of course, Asians. And after the birth of Saudi Arabia, all went well, of course, for 30 years. And Saudi Arabia was growing exponentially, so that at the end of First World War, it was the most powerful and the only sovereign state in the Middle East that qualified to be a founding member of the United Nations. In 1950, Saudi Arabia struck oil. By early to mid 1960s, Saudi Arabia and their citizens were already married in petrodollar wealth. Consequently, Miraa export trade to Saudi Arabia became a lucrative business, and in 1965, a society was formed in Kenya for Miraa. That was only 2 years after independence. But our farmers did not know that trouble was brewing in Saudi Arabia and at home. Charles Jonjo was planning to ban Miraa. At the same time, in Saudi Arabia, the government was very uncomfortable with the fast expanding consumption of Miraa and importation and its sale. Saudi Arabia, of course, and to plan to have a conference, an international conference like that, like now we have one. That was the first conference, but we don't know when it was. And the agenda was to illegalized Miraa consumption in Saudi Arabia. And at home, of course, Charles Giorgio was concurrently pushing for the outlawing of Miraa cultivation, trade, and consumption. Indeed, Saudi Arabia succeeded in convening the International Miraa Conference, but we don't know the exact date and the year. By this time, the level of literacy in Saudi Arabia was rock bottom. Thus, beyond the flaunting blanket condemnation of Miraa throughout the conference, the Saudi Arabian participants provided no scientific evidence to support their position. The only experts in attendance who had credible and authoritative scientific knowledge were Europeans and Americans. However, those experts reserved their knowledgeable comments throughout the conference. Instead, they supported Saudi Arabia's agenda fully and doggedly. In any case, Europeans and Americans were also firmly opposed to Miraa consumption, sale, and distribution. Nevertheless, when they arrived at their predetermined conclusions and recommendations, those findings were hashed up as if Saudi Arabia was turning its eye on the unfolding events in Nairobi. Giorgio's plot came a cropper in mid-1967 as a delegation of Jorincheke elders petitioned President Jomo Kenyatta to intervene. Of course, Giorgio was stopped. A couple of days after Mzee Jomo Kenyatta resolved the matter in favor of Miraa, Saudi Arabia released the pending report on the International Miraa Conference. Ultimately, Saudi Arabia actually outlawed the growing, importation, sale, and consumption of Miraa. This edict was adopted by all countries within the Middle East except Yemen. It is in force even today. And now, today, we are holding the second Miraa Conference in history. And definitely, history will be rewritten. Since neither Saudi Arabia nor Charles Giorgio are invited guests here, I want to believe that our objectives reflect what Kenya's national aspirations were some 54 years ago and what they are today. Indeed, we are converged here not to ban Miraa, but to facilitate and fast-track the modernization of this very important crop. On my behalf and that of my partners, therefore, let me say we feel privileged to be part of this cause. My partners and I are a team of innovators for value-added Miraa products. To achieve these goals, we collaborate with KIRDI. With the help of KIRDI food engineers, we have invented and patented a few value-added products. These include a chewing gum, toffee, fudge, besides a herbal infusion. All of them are derived from Miraa, of course, as you've seen. And we have also invented and patented the packaging design that I showed you. With regard to penetrating regional and international markets, we have had a peep into Zambia, South Sudan, and Europe, and established that their doors are more ajar than closed. Furthermore, we have an online store, www.maricanhabo.com. That is our official website, and it's an online store. Main drawbacks that impede market entry and deter full commercialization of fresh Miraa and its derivatives are KEBS and sources of funding in that order. Now, products. Marican is our trademarked brand, and the chewing gum is our flagship. We have managed to develop the chewing gum in a collaboration with Cafosa of Spain. Cafosa is a sister company of Wrigley International, the world's largest manufacturer of chewing gums. And Wrigley are the makers of popular brands like Big G, PK, and the Juicy Fruit. The Spaniards suppliers with Ngambis and technical support. They do the same for Wrigley. Namana, we are playing the same league with Wrigley, isn't it? For the time being, we are keeping the production of the toffee and fudge in abeyance as we enter the market with the Miraa Herbal infusion, shadowing Miraa chewing gum. The packaging design for fresh Miraa has been innovated in collaboration with Microdand Corporation, an American company that supplies us with raw materials and technical support. The packaging design is made of a material that keeps Miraa fresh for up to 72 hours. We've never tried at the farm level. We only buy Miraa from Pumwani or any other kiosk, and we do our tests there. That is how we did the other one. The other one that we packed was not packed on Sunday from the farm. It is on Sunday, 4 p.m., Nairobi. All right. This is because the compounds in the packaging material absorb oxygen and excess moisture within it, causing substantial deceleration of the post-harvest biodegradation of Miraa. The quick and progressive auto-biodegradation occurs as Miraa starts metabolizing cathinone a few hours after it is harvested. Cathinone is the active biochemical that causes the stimulating effects sought by consumers. This packaging design does away with the organic materials like the fresh banana leaves meant for preserving freshness of Miraa, and the dried banana bark twice for tying fresh twigs into bundles. In this case, you saw that I did not have the bundle that I was preserving was not tied. We can still use edible twines, the kitchen twine. I hope you are familiar with that one. Also referred to as robust, the bundles are the conventional units of sale and consumption of fresh Miraa. This innovation also makes our roads safer by eradicating the frightening nuisance of speeding Miraa pickups. A longer shelf life for fresh Miraa renders breakneck speeding unjustifiable. The packaging design can also be made intelligent such that every packet traces its contents to the specific farm of origin, and even the farmer if you so wish. Commercialization. After our collaborators help us to crystallize these inventions, and after securing them with patents, we are applying for their standards from KEBS, which declined, saying there was no scientific proof that Miraa consumption is safe. At our own expense, we commissioned the Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacognosy at the School of Pharmacy, University of Nairobi, to develop a safety profile for Miraa. The research gave Miraa a clean bill of health with credible scientific proof. Thus, we wrote a fresh request for a standard to KEBS and attached the documented proof of safety. Once again, KEBS declined. This time, the agency invoked an obsolete legal rider in the Drugs and Narcotics Act. For 6 years, therefore, KEBS has taken us through countless convoluted circles, many turns and twists, up and down, back and forth, and thus ultimately emasculating every effort to commercialize those innovations. And returned though, we filed yet an application to KEBS. This time, we requested them to develop private company standards for our products, again at our own cost. KEBS did not budge. This time, they shifted the responsibility to NACADA. Market access. And deterred by these frustrations, we've been scouting for pathways into regional and international markets because we know that KEBS can only delay the process of spurring Miraa economy, but it can never stop it. armed with the samples of Miraa chewing gum. Therefore, we approached Zambian High Commission, and Zambia told us, with the KEBS, the market is open. We also went to Dar es Salaam. Physically, we found the same case applies, and South Sudan. Further still, we have contracted the services of Mr. George Skimazek, a native Austrian, as our sales representative in Europe. He has established that these value-added products can indeed enter Europe through Finland if they have the mandatory KEBS standard. In fact, what we are doing, the only problem, he is still there. He works. He's a man who is properly learned with the 2 PhDs. But he is also passionate about social justice. So he does the marketing for us, of course, at a commission as a sales rep for 10%, and he gets these products. But he's too busy. So we need okay. Now, opportunities is that EU is more or less open. Using the packaging design again, Israel is open, so EU is open. Let's go straight to conclusions. Score up. It's over. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maore Ifula, for that presentation. I see, of course, you are in the constraints of time because of the amount of material you had. But please, let us give him a hearty clap. Thank you. Yeah, he came up with the Marikani chewing gum. He didn't tell us exactly why that name and not a Khmer name, but question and answer session will come. Let me now invite our next presenter, Kelvin Muchangi. Kelvin is one of our scholars. He's an agriculturalist. He's going to present the post-harvest management of Miraa. And Kelvin is already prepared to give us that presentation. Please, Kelvin will give you another 6 minutes. Please try to keep on time.
Thank you. Your Excellency the Governor, Deputy Governor, all protocols observed. Before you, it's Kevin. I'll be presenting a presentation on post-harvest management of Miraa. Allow me to recognize the able collaboration with JQuat, our able partners, represented through Dr. Karanja. I believe he's in the room. Next, please. Next slide. I'll not bore you with a lot of history on Miraa. I'll go straight to the point. Let us look at some of the factors contributing to deterioration in quality of Miraa, straight from the farm. So we start with cultivation. So at the farm, our main challenges are mainly to do with contamination from uncomposted manure, soil particles, dirty irrigation water, pesticides and pests. And what they do, we have contamination with Enterobacteriaceae and chemicals. This is a very big problem, especially when you go to farms where they use uncomposted manure. You find that we have the, what do you call them? Those to-dos? The chafer grubs, right? Okay. At harvesting, the challenges that we have are you should harvest early in the morning, and the reason is to keep because the internal temperature of the produce is at the lowest. Also at harvesting, another challenge is injuries to the crop. And what this creates is active sites for respiration and other biological reactions. Okay. Another thing that we do without knowing is plucking off excess leaves to create the desired grades of Miraa. And this also creates hotspots for the biological reactions, and also it causes lignification on the affected areas. Next slide, please. At the packaging stage, the challenges that we have that cause deterioration in quality of Miraa is overpacking, which creates internal heat loads. Overpacking also causes injuries. And what this does, it also raises active sites for the biological reactions. At the transport stage, we also have overpacking being a challenge because of temperature fluctuations during transport. We have exposure to exogenous ethylene. We have drop shots and vibrational injuries, and this happens when we speed off our Miraa. And we have the reason, it also raises the rate of biological reactions. At the sales stage, when we sell the kiosk, the risks are exposure of Miraa to heat, sprinkling Miraa with dirty water to cool it, and also poor personal hygiene. And the challenge there is contamination with microorganisms. Next slide, please. I did a swab of Miraa straight off the shelf, and you can see the kind of growth that we have. We had an overgrowth actually. However, let me note this, that we do not clean our Miraa when we eat. However, in spite of that, you never hear of outbreaks of diseases or anything. Because Miraa has been shown to have antimicrobial properties. I believe that was tackled yesterday. And specifically, it has been shown that if Miraa can be used with antibiotics, it can reduce, resistance to antibiotics. Next slide, please. Let me address transportation of Miraa and the challenges that we have. The risks, when we transport Miraa in this form, those are the risks. Drop shock and vibrational damage, heat loads, where we have three main ones: the internal heat load, external heat load, and the residual heat. Then we have also exposure to exogenous ethylene, and the sources of this are dust, smoke, plastic particles, and exhaust gases. We also have overpacking, which results to heat accumulation and temperature fluctuation during the transportation. We also have damages and contamination in the process of transporting. Next slide, please. Let us now go and understand the post-harvest physiology of Miraa so that we know what causes Miraa to have a very short shelf life and what we can do about it. Okay, Miraa actually is the young ones of the Miraa plant. So we are literally dealing with the babies of this plant. And one thing about babies is they have a high rate of cell division. They deplete substrate or nutrients very fast because they are actively respiring. There is also rapid loss of water and a high hormone activity. Next slide. So those are the main challenges we have with Miraa, and that is what causes Miraa to deteriorate very fast. So, to preserve or prolong the shelf life of Miraa, you need to keep those things in check. Next slide. So, for this reason, I offer two options. And option one goes to the people who like chewing Miraa. Next slide, please. Now, introducing active modified atmosphere packaging. We have two types of modified atmosphere packaging: passive and active. Passive modified atmosphere packaging is where you pack Miraa. For example, a good example is when you pack Miraa in banana leaves. That is a form of passive modified atmosphere packaging, where you allow the respiratory gases to modify the atmosphere around the Miraa leaves. However, studies have shown that for it to be effective, for the optimum gaseous composition to be effective, it takes between 6 and 14 days, which is a luxury you don't have with Miraa. So introduce now the active modified atmosphere packaging, where you directly introduce the desired gas composition into the packaging material. The ideal packaging material literature has it that it is low density polyethylene, LDPE. The ideal packaging size, this is informed by what literature says about the amount of Miraa one consumes per sitting, which is about 200 grams. And then the ideal gaseous composition, according to literature, oxygen should be at about 2% not carbon monoxide, but carbon dioxide, sorry, typo. It should be about 1%, and the relative humidity should be around 85%. Next slide, please. And when you do that, you keep all those things in control. All those things that cause Miraa to degrade and lose the cardinal content, you keep them in check. You literally put the product on hibernation. Next slide, please. Let us compare modified atmosphere packaging with maybe the current way we do. The produce is exposed to the atmosphere, so nothing much happens. We can do also vacuum packaging, but the downside to this is that you end up creating anaerobic fermentation. So the result is off odors and off flavors in Miraa, which is a no-go zone. So modified atmosphere packaging is the right way to go, and that is active modified atmosphere packaging. Next slide. Okay. Modified atmosphere packaging should also be used with refrigerated transport. And literature says that 4 degrees C is the ideal temperature. So maybe this is a suggestion that we can take up. Suggestion is the Miraa sheds, we can convert them into a pack house where we clean Miraa, dry off the cleaning water, and then package in those 200 grams LDPE sachets with a modified atmosphere, and then after that put it in crates and then transport it to the market. That way, even if it takes a week to transport to Mombasa, the Miraa is good. Next slide, please. These are examples. It is done. We do it. Okay, we've been doing it. An example with cherries and also baby carrots. And again, I've highlighted there down 12 grams of Miraa in an LDP pouch and the atmosphere composition. Next slide. Other examples of MEP that we've come across, but maybe we didn't know about it. We have cheese or crackles or potato chips, sodas, and beers. Next slide, please. Option 2 now is on value addition and processing. Next slide. And those are the product portfolios. Next slide. And why value addition is it is a hygienic way of consuming Miraa. It also brings class in Miraa. You offer Miraa as a stimulant product, for example, an energy drink. You also promote safe usage of Miraa where the dosage is controlled. You also can make a healthy drink where you check on your weight. Miraa is very good on it. I'm actually in the process of compiling an article on Miraa use on obesity control and weight gain. Miraa is also rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. It is also a unique and new product in the market. Next slide, please. Then we also increase the value of Miraa, fetching better price for the commodity. Miraa is good. Value addition is good for your oral health. Then when you value add, you reduce some of the phenolic compounds, which are nutrient inhibitors. You also extend the shelf life of Miraa to up to 1 year. You reduce idleness, a way of preserving a socio-cultural tradition and a source of revenue to the government. It is also hard to alter, support livelihoods of those people involved in the value chain. And then another key point is it reduces drug abuse. That is, you find that Uber and other hard drugs are sold in those Miraa kiosks. So if you can maybe find a way to reduce that, then you have it. Those are the references. Next slide, please. Go on. Go on. Next slide, please. I did not make it up. Those are my references. Allow me, please, to touch on the legislation part, which is the only issue. I know my time is up, but if you can only give me 5 minutes, please, I'll be very brief. Touch on the time. Okay. Thank you. You find that Miraa is included in the first schedule of crops under the Crops Act, and that is where it is. Next slide. No, the previous. Miraa is also empowered by under the Agriculture and Food Authority, and we have a Miraa Perethrum and other Industrial Crops Directorate under AFA. Next slide, please. However, you find that Miraa, for some reason, is also in the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act, where cathinone and cathine is listed under the second schedule. That is the list of psychotropic substances. Okay, next slide. And that is where Miraa is, specifically cathinone. Next slide. And cathine. Next slide. And this is what the Narcotics Act says. It says that a psychotropic substance means any substance specified in the second schedule or anything that contains any substance specified in that schedule. Therefore, Miraa becomes a psychotropic substance because it contains the substances contained or specified in that schedule. So that is where the problem is. The previous slide, please. On manufacture, the reason why we have problems in getting the KEBS license is because under C, making of preparations, otherwise not in a pharmacology maybe perspective, making of preparations with or containing such drug or substances. So that is where now KEBS is basing their argument on. Next slide, please. However, the same act, under number 16, it talks of if you want to value add or export or manufacture something contained in that act, that is what should be done. However, I believe Your Excellency, Bona Governor, you are aware of this problem, where the minister mentioned here is not clear. We don't know who that minister is. So because of that, we don't know who to petition after that. Next slide, please. The previous slide. So maybe a proposal would be, we can take this act back to Parliament, let the parliamentarians tell us who this minister is, and then now we can direct our focus to that minister, if we know who that minister is. Next slide. Pardon? We do not know who that minister is or who forms the board. It is a silent minister who we do not know. It's also silent. We don't know. Pardon? Okay. Let's go, please. Under the KEBS standard, this is what we can do to include Miraa. Next slide. We can expand the scope of one of the standards. Next. Also, we can expand the list of specifications. Next slide. And that way, we are done with matters Miraa. Thank you.
Please, a hearty clap for Kelvin. Just to remind you, please take your any issue that you need some clarification, since we shall have the question and answer. We also have a planning session, so please take note of all that. And in this particular presentation, take note that we shall have a presentation from KEBS. So that area that Kelvin has put a star, please take note of it when you shall have presentation from KEBS. And also the issue of the law, where we are talking about the board with the minister, please also take note of that. I would also wish that the secretariat from our county government, please, I'm sure at the end of it all, you have all these full presentations for our reference, not just library, but reference. Now, our next presenter is Safari Agure. Madam Agure works for KEMRI. She's in the Department of Knowledge Management, and our area of operation is on research, transformation into policy. And now she is the right person to give us this presentation on the research evidence and bridge to support policy and guide practice. Ms. Agure, please take the podium.
Good morning, all. I'm here again. All protocols observed. Morning, Governor and our leaders, and thank you for coming again today. We are very impressed that you guys are here. Now, yesterday, if you may allow me, yesterday I was here giving a lot of bad news, and I believe some people are not happy with me. But it was a foundation for today. There was a young man who was there yesterday who had two or three concerns. I did not ignore his concerns. I shelved them because they are going to be answered today. So my work today is it's actually an eye-opener. I want us to think beyond just the research that we gave you, whether it was negative or positive. We think beyond. I think we have the same mindset that we want Miraa to do something positive to our community and to be something positive for all in the community, and we don't leave anyone in the community behind. So if you have to do that, because we cannot hide that there are some few negatives, there are few things we need to do so that we can use our Miraa for the benefit of the whole of the community in Meru. Now, the two items that were talked about yesterday by the young man, if you just allow me to address them quickly. He talked about the mitigation issues, or he talked about the money versus the schooling, and I agree with him to a point. Yes, the money and the schooling should go together. Yes, we might have money and there's no school, or school is not there without money. So how do we integrate these two things? We'll tell you. And then the other issue is something about the puberty versus catching. Maybe it's puberty that is determining the dropouts. We don't know. That's another point of research. So if you go right into the presentation for today, that's my outline. First, I will talk about the evidence, which I have actually talked about the evidence we already have, or we got yesterday. So once we do that, or we have that, what do we do now? And then I will talk about the light bulb moment. I will talk about the moving from research to policy to practice. I will talk about what we call evidence-informed policy making. I will talk about the types of evidence which are used for evidence-informed policy making, and the pathway or the roadmap towards evidence-informed policy and practice pathway. Next. Yes, I talked about this. This mainly came from yesterday, and yes, I did my disclaimer. You see, our guy there is very unhappy, and I'm sure some people also are unhappy from yesterday. But after this, hopefully, we'll now be smiling. So in the morning, yesterday we had about some potential use of CAT, anti-cancer, antimicrobial, antioxidant. And then in the afternoon we had about now the psychosis and the mental health, and of course the social issues, which were contradicting the ones in the morning. Next. So now that we have all this information and they are conflicting, what do we do? Our guy there is scratching his head, so we all scratch our heads. So I believe what we want to do is, or we are doing, is commercialization. I think we want to develop or have developed some products and services. We want to do for value addition, which we've had this morning has already been done to some point. But how best do we mitigate the situation or in the harms? How do we make Miraa more safe rather than harmful? So we want to minimize the harm and maximize the benefits, which most of it is commercial. So science says we have a problem to a point or a challenge. That's a question I'm posing. But should the science stop us? And will it? I don't think so. So what do? We go around the problem. So this is the light bulb moment. We've realized that there's some things we can do towards going around the problem or mitigating the problem. We can do something, some kind of root cause analysis. So that quotation there comes from one of the gurus in the space of evidence-informed decision-making. And if I may read verbatim, we produce policies that really deal with the problem, or we should produce policies that really deal with the problem. That means we have to know the problem first. We have to identify, agree there is a problem, and then we move forward. Once we've done that, we look forward, we focus on going forward, and we use the evidence to shape the response, rather talking about symptoms or trying to address the symptoms, which will not actually address the problem holistically. Next. Now the move from research to policy to practice. So for research to be meaningful to anyone, we don't do research for the sake of doing research, and someone told us yesterday we were imagining. We don't imagine for the sake of imagining. There's a reason why we do research. So for it to be meaningful for whatever reason it was done, it has to have some positive impact to all the people surrounding in that issue. In this case, all the farmers, all the children, all the parents, all the politicians, all the leaders within Meru County. We have done a lot of foundational research. We had about yesterday and a bit today. There's foundational research that has been done. However, it's not enough. We had everyone who spoke yesterday talked about more research, more research, more research. So we still need more research in this area. And we note that the research that is coming out in the world space in Miraa are not localized. They're not. There's a lot from Saudi Arabia, a few little things from Yemen, some Ethiopian, but Kenya, we are still lagging behind. Either that or we don't publish our research, so we cannot find it anywhere. Now, we need to compare research from Kenya and others. So even those ones of Yemen and Ethiopia will still help us, but we need to do something called synthesis of research. And my colleague Karis will talk more about synthesis later, and the types of synthesis and how that can help us or how we can do it. So that's an area I can leave for Karis. Now we know that, and our leaders will tell us policy making is very complex and highly complex, but we have the window period right now to deal with the policies required for Miraa and to advance that crop. So the window period is there, let's just take advantage of it. The last presenter just talked about these conflicting laws and problems, where one arm of the government is shooting the other side, the left is not knowing what the right is doing, and when someone who's in the middle comes, they are conflicted. So some of those things need to be addressed. The push and the pull of policy making. This arena or this situation is more of a pull. The county itself wants the evidence to be used. So usually we researchers go and push issues towards policy making, which doesn't work well. But when it's coming from, the demand is coming from the users, we find that works much, much better. So what do we need? Some policies, some policy documents, we need some guidelines, some laws, like the conflicting ones, to be addressed. And the presenter before me listed some of them, and many of them. Next. No, before, sorry. Yes. Now there's a new thinking or a shift in thinking about policy making and basing or informing policy making using evidence. And that's one great step that Meru has taken this week, and I applaud the county for that step. But we hope that it's going to be a positive step in terms of actually basing decision making and policy making on the evidence. And as I said before, the current evidence that was presented is still not enough for that. So we need more research addressing those specific areas that have been mentioned as challenges. So this is an approach that contributes to policy making, as I've said, and the practice is using the best evidence from around areas in that matter to be able to solve those matters. In terms of accessing the evidence, access, appraisal, and use or synthesis of this evidence is key. And those are some of the skills that need to be built or used. You can work together with the seasoned researchers or develop the capacities as yourselves. Now, there's a potential to help or even save lives through this process, to reduce poverty and improve the allocation of the scarce resources that we have in Kenya. Next. Okay, this is a quick slide that tells us that there are different types of evidence that are used for policy making. We've just been tackling the first, which is research, but it's not the only ingredient for decision making. So we need to identify the other evidences in this area and synthesize and synchronize them together. A key type of evidence which will come up here is the economics and the politics arena, which have to be covered. Next. I'm about to finish. This is just a diagram of what the pathway or the roadmap towards policy using evidence or informed through evidence. Now, the cost of ignoring evidence or shelving evidence is high. You invest in evidence today and go the right pathway, or you ignore the research and the evidence, go your own pathway, but believe you me, it will come back to haunt you. So I suggest, our appeal is that we start with the evidence now. Now, the impact of the whole process, from the agenda setting to the formulation to the implementation, all have research embedded. So the first research is not the first. That's why I said we have only foundational research. Even as we go through the process, there needs to be monitoring and evaluation of the process so that we improve as we go. Next. Yeah, and I believe now that we are speaking the same language as much as yesterday we seemed not to, and we are going the same direction. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Agure. This will give another nice clap. She was here yesterday and today she's here, and since she has revisited that issue of that was raised yesterday. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can you see it's already about 11:30 is the issue of the tea break. There's also the question and answer, but at least we are enjoying the session on the area of value addition. You can see that value addition, basically, it gives hygiene to the Miraa. Those who want to say that they won't belong to a class can also belong there and chew your gum of the wine or the juice. And now that we've talked about the policy, but there's issue of other conflicts. And I'm sure the essence of this particular conference is those things are now coming on the fore, so that our county government will properly take it up, but also from the presenter we have heard, even from the players within the industry, please also make your demand. like we saw from one of the exhibitors, how they have been frustrated by KEBS. Please talk more about that. I think now with that, those presentations, and I'm sure there is also issue this bit of the question and answer, which of course marries very well with the other plenary session where we can have all the questions together. Please take them up so that now we can have a break. But I will invite Kimathi to give us more directions on that particular area. Kimathi.
Thank you. Asante sana, our chair of the session and all the other panelists. Let us appreciate them. We will do something before we come to after tea. Yeah, we will show you after tea. Bwana Makarena, you have been an ambassador of Miraa. Give Makarena a mic. Asante jambo. Then our main guests for today are here. So we'll, after Macarena, 1 minute of Macarena, we will kindly request His Excellency the Governor to recognize the guests that are here. I can see the full house. Macarena.
Our Governor, we people living with disability in Meru, we are proud of you. But me, I don't know if I can continue in that class because I always speak Kiswahili. But I'll try. We went to school because of you. Mimi nafurahia hii program na gavana, ile kazi umetusaidia hata Wameru ndio wajue. Hatujawahi pata mambo ingine kama hii. Wameru tumetetea Miraa na tumeteseka sana. Tungepata king mwingine yule amefanya kazi kama hii, alikuwa anaitwa Mate, yule alipanda Miraa kwa Kenyatta, kwa boma ya Kenyatta. Mwingine ni gavana ambaye ameita professional wote, ameita kila mtu ndiye akuja atoe maoni yake ndio tuweze kusaidia mkulima wa Miraa. Mimi yangu ni machache na si vile naonelea hata mimi kama mlemavu. Na ile ningeomba kwa sababu gavana ametuleta pamoja, viongozi wote wameshikana, tumekuwa kitu moja. Kama sisi zote tunaona viongozi wetu wametuweka kwa njia moja, ndio tusaidie yule mama naye kwa nyumbani. Wewe kuwa ambassador kwako wa kutetea Miraa na kushikanisha wale wengine, ndio sisi ambao tunateseka walemavu tuweze kusaidika. Ya mwisho, kuna wale watu walisema wataweka hiyo report pamoja. Mkumbuke watoto wetu kutoka Nyambene, watoto 11 walifutwa kwa sababu ya Miraa. Mkiweka hiyo report naye muweke msema watoto wetu walifutwa kwa sababu ya kuuza Miraa na Miraa. Gavana ametuonyesha njia ile tutafanya naye kazi ndio Miraa iweze kutambulika. Na itatambulika juu yako na mimi. Na Mindria. Hapo ndio mimi niko kwa Mindria. Mimi huwa nakula Miraa. Lakini wakati mnaweka picha ya yule mtu anakula Miraa, mnaweka yule mtu mchafu. Uwezi kuweke kama na akikula Miraa, uweke kama Titus Tosha akikula Miraa, uweke kama Moroko akikula Miraa, unaenda unadai yule wako na Makarena, mwenye ako na uchafu kidogo, ama vile msimu tunakulanga na Miraa mpaka airport. Hiyo mimi ndio naomba, na Miraa itaendelea tukiwa na wewe kama tusaidie, endelea kutusaidia hivyo. Na nilikuwa nimeambiwa nisiongee siasa. Na wale watu elected, wacha niwaambie kusema ukweli. Jana tuliona MP hapa, tuliona senator, tuliona kila mtu, hata CS, kwa sababu wanajua ile shida tuko nayo. Nataka yule atapanda women rep amwambie watu kuwa pamoja wakati tunatetea haki ya Wameru. Kama mimi mlemavu na walizo shuti na kama na tai, kwani yeye atapea watu kulova ni Miraa. Kwa hivyo kupea watu kulova ni hiyo ni kule kwenye mbele. Awe kwa watu. Si kule inaomba hapa. Kila watu wako hapa tuwe sote. Na tunaomba Wameru tuwe pamoja wakati tunatetea kitu yetu. Hata mimi siku moja mkiambiwa tusimame ndio Miraa ipate market, simaweza nisimame kama ndio lakini viongozi wetu wale wako na fitina sijui nini, saa hii gavana endelea kutuleta pamoja. Sisi watu wa Meru ni kuombea Mungu tu. Nakwambia president tuko pamoja na yeye, bali nakwambia tuende, lakini juu sitaongea tena. Kitu itatusaidia ni kutupea chama. Kama tungekuwa na chama hao MP wote wa Meru wako kwa chama moja, tungekuwa tunasimama tunaongea kitu kinasikika. Lakini sasa hivi wako kuongea mwingine hapo, hata tukiongea hiyo Miraa itasaidia, tunaongea sauti asiambatani. Asanteni, Mungu awabariki na mkumbuke hata mimi naomba women rep next year.
Asante sana. Mwisho sisemi kitu. Thank you. Chair of the conference, tafadhali kuja pande kutoka pande. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the managing director KEBS with us here. On Banan Jiraine. Where are you? Jiraine, kindly, your seat is here. Kindly, sir. Vice Chancellor, Motivindo University. Where are you? Professor Festus Kabeli. NACADA CEO. NACADA imetajwa sana. The CEO is here. Victor Okioma. NACADA Chairperson, Professor Martin Ibuga. Professor, karibu sana. Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I feel sitoshi hapo kuwakaribisha hawa wa bwana. Ningetaka sasa kuomba gavana wetu kwa heshima kubwa akakaribia pande hii. Hawa ni wageni wake, aweze kuwa recognize. A round of applause for Governor. Deputy Governor. Frankie. We are lucky today na tunabidi kupiga makofi vizuri.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We say this is a high-level meeting. Ni kweli ama ni uongo? Pigeni makofi. And mine is very simple. I just saw a very old friend of mine here, and I thought it is only fair that I, as the governor of Meru, welcome her here together with her colleagues. The chairperson of NACADA, Professor Miraa Conference, is a person I've known for a long time. She was the Vice Chancellor of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture, JKUAT. And you know what a good job she did when she was there. So, Mabel, we can't forget you. After he research, in fact, the one who introduced me to the Miraa juice, Miraa wine, there was a young man from Meru who was a student, and JKUAT was doing a master's degree. And I visited the university. Then I was showing that young man, I invited him. And he brought me the products which he had developed at the laboratory at JKUAT. And I took him to the Minister of Agriculture in a Kilimo House. And we said we have to support these efforts. I've not seen that young man yourself. I think he was going to Riga or somebody. Yeah. But that's how this story began. So, Mabel, JKUAT team, we really appreciate the leading role that you took, especially in value addition for this crop. So Mabel is now the chairperson of NACADA, the new job share has been given, and we are very happy you are there. Can we give her a big hand? We have the NACADA CEO, Mr. Victor Okioma. Where is he? I think I used to see you in OP, isn't it? Yeah. He's a long-standing civil servant in the office of the president. He used to serve there even when I was a minister. So can we appreciate him? And then we have another friend, our Ambassador Festus Kaberia, Professor Festus Kaberia, who used to be our ambassador to India. Kaberia is a son of the soil from Rembe Central, and an occasion to visit him in India. And I remember when we were there, we found that the Indians were drinking milk from buffaloes. And he told me buffaloes have very few diseases. So we came back, but we were organizing how to bring some buffaloes from India to Kenya, so that we can see whether we can cross them with our cows and see whether we can produce more milk with less diseases. So that's the man Kaberia is always, thinking forward, out of the box. Can we give him a big hand? He's now the Vice Chancellor of Multimedia University. And then we have Lieutenant Colonel Bernard Njiraine, who is the Managing Director of Kenya Bureau of Standards. I think we'll give him a better applause. Now, a lot of questions, of course, including the person who spoke and he couldn't speak anymore, was talking about KEBS. Maybe we should understand, maybe KEBS have also their own problems. So it is good we are talking together to you shinda iko wapi, so that we can see whether we can have a consultative, collaborative effort to resolve all these bottlenecks that those people who are trying to hand value to our products, assist our farmers are facing. Allow me also to recognize and thank Professor Charles Bogo, the chairperson of the conference, who is from Kemri. Where is the chairperson of the conference? Kemri has been doing the scientific research in this area for a long time, and we are very happy as the Miraa County government that they have agreed. They've given us tremendous support, even in structuring this conference, and we are very happy. Your team was very enthusiastic, and they worked very hard with our team to make this conference the success it is. So allow us to most sincerely thank you for that. So that was just an intervention for me to recognize our guests for today. We are expecting the Ambassador Kirim Kaberia, who is the PS in the State Department of Industrialization, to join us maybe an hour or so from now, so that we can continue this discussion with also the key implementers of government policies. Thank you so much. Let us continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We want to adjust so that we can give our guests 2 or 3 minutes to make their remarks. Then we break for tea. Once we come back, we will continue with the scientific sessions thereafter. I will not go into in any order because we're in a relaxed session. So, Chair Charles Bobo, you made your remarks yesterday, but it is very important because of the role you played, Emily has played, to come and just wrap up what you did yesterday. Let us appreciate the chair for this conference.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency and other guests. We are greatly appreciative of this first Miraa Conference because we are learning quite a lot. And as we have also said, we are learning and bringing up all the knowledge together so that we can be able to move forward. One of the most important things is that we have been told that we need to have research evidence to be able to have evidence-based policy and decision-making process. And with that, it is not only the research evidence that is actually needed, but also we need evidence from other sectors. We need evidence from the community members, from the farmers. We need political evidence and other economic evidence. And once we put all these together, then we can be able to have a formidable policy that will be able to guide what we are trying to do now and into the future. As I mentioned yesterday, I was actually very, very excited to see the many products that are coming out of Miraa. And if we work together, we will be able to come out with strong and better products. But if we are divided, then definitely we will not end anywhere. So as His Excellency has brought all these people together, and as the CS, His Excellency Matiang said yesterday, we all need to come together to talk together. The ministries, the interministerial coordination is necessary here. Other than maybe the KEBS talking differently, the NACADA talking differently, the research team talking differently, and the Miraa team talking differently. We all need to come together and have a common goal so that we can have a strong policy on Miraa production, commercialization, and access. That's my remarks I can be able to say today. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. At this juncture, I would like to invite the VC, Multimedia University, Professor Festus Kaberia. Let us appreciate the Professor. Thank you, sir.
Our Governor, His Excellency Kiraitu Murunge, who seems to have stepped out. All protocols observed. And my fellow VC, former VC, she used to be my VC when I was ambassador in India, as you've been told. I used to represent you there during the last term of Kibaki. So I used to receive ministers, and my governor happened to have been one of then a minister. But why am I here? How did I come to know here? I had a call from the governor himself and asked me, Professor, we are having a conference. I'm talking about governor who is moving in. We are having a conference on 27th and 28th. Can you get me people who have done research on value addition? I scratched my head a bit, but I resorted to going to that very university where I am a professor of organic chemistry. That's Jomo Kenyatta University. I ran the DVC academic
and he gave me a person in the name of Professor Sila, who is the Dean of Food Science within the university, who jollily and told me that he had done research in Miraa. What I came to learn later, Kevin, who came to give here, was one of his students who did research on Miraa, and Dr. Karanja, if he has come, these are our supervisors. I also knew through my brother, I didn't know he had gone that far, Maure Ivula, and also come up with chewing gum. So I contacted Maure Ivula, who did agree governor, and I sent you through WhatsApp the two names. We do not have Sila today. That's why he sent the student who was involved in that value addition of Miraa in way of wine and whatever other products he gave. So what am I saying here is that we have found there is interest in value addition in Miraa. These are not the last and first products in this, and there is interest of that in our universities and research institutions. Indeed, as I talk to you, Governor, we have in way of research in Miraa a PhD of 1974 done by Karim Maitai, University of Nairobi, fully on Miraa, but not on value addition, but it's on Miraa. But there is also an MSc done by someone, again from that school, that is, indeed she comes from Guantai. Guantai's MSc also was in Miraa. I'm saying this, I wasn't surprised when Kemri, when Ivila was talking about Miraa, and the comments that came from that school of pharmacy, that it give it a clean bill of health. They have done quite a bit about that. Indeed, as you are going on with the case in London, I just come from India, and a group of MCAs were sent to me, I guess through my brother whom you know, and was told Professor knows something about Miraa. So they came to me to tell them something about Miraa. That very day, Professor Maitai had written in the newspaper, Nation in particular, an article which I gave that group, because I think they were said to do some survey. And what he said, a lot of what was going on was politics in the issue of Miraa. That's an authority. He must be now Professor Emeritus, realized he got his PhD in 1974 when some of us were first years or thereabout. But that's how it was. So really, universities, this is an area or institutions which we can, as a county, have an interested in interesting people to get into Miraa. Because in universities, you have those who do projects like Kevin. Kevin is a project that he did, and we have those that can take it further in PhD and masters, as it has happened in University of Nairobi and in the past. But one thing that seems to be where the barrier is the issue of funding. The issue of funding, I'm talking now as Vice Chancellor, we are quite limited. So if there was a fund that we would call for proposals on value addition, and then we have a group that vets, I'm sure that will improve in that area. Because even the values, the additional values that we have found, that's not the end of it. So I am suggesting as a county, this is where we come in, that if it is possible, because if we do not take that value-added product to the next level, it will not mean a lot to that farmer out there. Why am I saying this? Because if we do not take it to commercialization, it will not create that demand that will help that farmer out there to produce more and more. So I would wish, and this can be done, that we take it the Maori way, although he has some barriers, where you are producing a product en masse, and that is creating a demand of that very Miraa that currently is just chewed. So we are going now beyond the chewing, and we'll continue doing the chewing, those who do, but we'll also now have other avenues of taking out that Miraa, which in turn will help that farmer out there in terms of getting their income. I'm saying this because really, as a person who comes from that area, I even happen to own 2 acres of Miraa. But I don't know much about it beyond that. But I see it has affected us greatly in that area. So an area where we have this value added, let them not end in the laboratory. Let us take them further if we can. If we are able to overcome the barriers that are currently there, the NACADA, but we are backed up by research, as Professor Maitai did point out. If we are able to sort out that, and I don't governor, a lawyer as he is, and a prominent one for that matter, he can advise on those and get the government so that you get over that. But otherwise, additional products are there. All there is right now is that we have not been able to take them the Maori way, but realize even the Maori way is receiving some problems in way of getting that standard because of other related problems that there are. But I'm sure we should be able to get over that. So mine really is to thank the governor for having come up with this brilliant idea in coming up with this conference where we are addressing one product that means a lot to his county, to our county. But I'm sure we overcome all that. Commercializing out of the laboratory, it is not that university, it is us who will lobby the industries. As we get this product, we should be able also to lobby the industries so that we have this product produced en masse and able to create that demand I'm talking about. That can be done. In fact, as I talk of this, and Professor Imbuga, we did supervise somebody with her. This is the governor of Kericho. The governor of Kericho, that very product, we supervised her. This is a medicinal product, a plant that they use somewhere within the Rift Valley. We supervised him for a PhD, and right now he has very many products out of that. He has commercialized the product he has get out of that plant after getting his PhD under me and Mabo Imbuga. So mine really, the parting shot here is, let's move on from value added to commercializing what is coming out of the lab. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Son of the Soil. You have built it. Let us now invite the CEO, NACADA, Mr. Victor Kioma, to make his remarks, and invite the chair. Okay. Let us appreciate the CEO.
If it's not going to work in this protocol, we had agreed that the chair just speaks something, then I can address the legal issues.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's very good. Let us appreciate the chair.
Thank you, the governor, the deputy governor, and all protocols observed. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here with especially the Meru community. I know the Meru community very well because when I was the Vice Chancellor of JKUAT, we mentored Meru University of Science and Technology. So I know what you do, and I know the Miraa and all those things. And also, it is true what has been said here by the governor. He came and he wanted to value add on Miraa. And at that time, I think the university was doing very well in that area. And they were even making wine that from Miraa that we were exhibiting in all the shows. And I do appreciate especially Dr. Karanja, Kevin, and the Professor of Agriculture who is there, whom they have mentioned. And what I need to tell you is that before I talk about NACADA, you are in the right direction as far as that is concerned, Professor Sila. Because that team of Professor Sila and Dr. Karanja, they are the ones who helped Makueni County to come up with the value addition in mangoes. And they established a mango factory. So you are in the right direction. But now I'm here as the NACADA regulator. So the regulator, we want to tell you that NACADA is a friend of yours. The only thing that you have to do is to make sure that the things that are troublesome, the chemicals, cathene and cathinone, are not in what you are doing. That's all. Because those are the two most important chemicals that we should not entertain in our drinks, in our tea, in our juices, in our wines, in our whiskeys. Because you know what they do. I'm a professor of biochemistry. And it is true, the cathinone is unsteady. So when you dry the leaves, you won't find it. But then caffeine will be there, which is equally as bad. So you need to open your minds and see what else can you do. You know that people have come up with decaffeinated coffee, isn't it? They remove the caffeine from there. So you just have to do what is right. Because we are under obligation. We don't promote drugs. And so far, Miraa has been classified as a drug. And it is classified as a drug just because of two chemicals, as you'll be told. So if you get rid of those two chemicals, then you are on the right path. If the two chemicals are still there, you are on the wrong path. Just like that. Then I also need to inform you that also, Miraa also, so you have heard of Morbine, the one that is famous, which cures 40 illnesses, isn't it? Now Miraa also has 40 components. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And we have great scientists in this country. You have seen them here. They can help you to have the correct product. They will help you because Kenya is blessed. And we have seen, even the older ones who are exiting like myself and Professor Kaberia are being replaced by Kina Kevin, Karanja, and Sila. So have your mind open. Don't see NACADA as an enemy, as a barrier. NACADA is there to do its work. Because our work is to protect the youth, is to protect Kenyans from harmful products. So that's all I wanted to say, that see NACADA as a friend. We work together so that we direct you what direction you need to do. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Our guest, Excellency, Governor of Miraa County, distinguished scholars, ladies and gentlemen. We were invited by the governor to come and give our input to this discussion. And I want to say from the onset that for us in NACADA, this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to explain ourselves. Because so far, and I've been monitoring the discussions that have been on since yesterday, I think NACADA is the most condemned, and for the wrong reason that we have not talked and agreed where we come from so that you can see our perspective. I was expecting that they would display something. Where is my team? Not possible? Then I will proceed. NACADA, as you know, is a national government agency under the Ministry of Interior, whose main mandate is to coordinate the multi-sectoral response to the challenge of drug and substance abuse in the country. That's our critical mandate. And broadly, we do many things under our functions. Public education, based on the research we do. We are able to advise on what we find from the surveys that we carry out. We also do document emerging trends in drugs and substance abuse. We implement the resolution of the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, to which we are members. And I will be briefly mentioning what we have found from our research. One of the things that we have found in our research, can we synchronize? I don't want to talk much about the background. I want us to go to the real issues why we are here. Now, let's look at the preference of substance abuse in the country. If we can go there before the classification. I want us to look at the situation in the country as it is. Okay. I want us to know how much alcohol is a problem, how much tobacco is a problem. That is the figures I'm looking for. I don't know whether this is the presentation. Anyway, let me present from here because I think there's some mix-up. Data that we have collected in our surveys carried out in 2017 indicates that 4.1% of Kenyans aged between 15 and 65 are currently chewing Miraa. Further, 3.1% of Kenyans aged between 15 and 65 years have some kind of Miraa-related substance disorders. And this is the survey, and it's in our website. Yeah? 1.6 are actually categorized through this survey as having severe cat or Miraa use disorders. So we are talking about problem, but the Miraa is not that much of a problem when you compare with what alcohol has done to us. Alcohol is, I think, at 12.2%, and it contributes to about 10.2% of the substance-related disorders in the country. Now, the issue we were supposed to comment on is what is the legal framework that we need to deal with. And I want to advise that let us be allies and look at where the problem is and deal with that problem. Now, as members of the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, Kenya, by the way, was voted in for the second term of 3 years, which ended in 2019, and we were given a extended term of another 3 years from 2019. Scheduling of substances for international control is done by the World Health Organization. This is done through the World Health Organization Expert Committee on Drug Dependence that consists of independent groups of experts in the field of drug and medicines. In undertaking this function, the World Health Organization derives its mandate from Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the 1971 Convention on Psychotropic Substances. And you can see the convention, if you Google it, you will see clearly what happens. World Health Organization is therefore mandated to do, among others, extent of likelihood of abuse, look at evidence of potential dependence, look at issues of impact on public health, look at issues of medical usefulness of substances, and they recommend to the CND control measures. World Health Organization recommends control of substances if from their assessment they find that the substance under review has the capacity to produce the following effects: state of dependence,
central nervous system stimulation or depression resulting in hallucinations or disturbances in the motor function or thinking or behavior or perception or mood. Similar abuse and similar ill effects as a substance in Schedule 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on the outcome of the assessment of specific substances, the committee advises the Commission on Narcotic Drugs to do the following. Place the substance under international control. 2. Transfer the substance from one schedule to another, leading to more or less control. 3. Delete the substance from a schedule, putting end to control. Keep the substance under surveillance. All these are options that are given to the CND or the advice of the World Health Organization. Now, on classification of substances, this is contained in the schedule attached to the 3 conventions on drug control. The World Drug Control is based on the 3 conventions to which Kenya is a signatory. And that provides the international legal framework that as members, and there are senior lawyers here, once you are a signatory to these conventions, you are actually mandated or obligated to customize them into our own laws. That is the requirement. So, from the classification on 22nd to 27 April 1985, the expert committee resolved that caffeine and cathinol meet the criteria set in Article 2, Paragraph 4 for control under the Convention in Psychotropic Substances, thus liable for international control. It's actually arising from that decision that the CND, on the advice of the World Health Organization, put caffeine and cathinol under international control. Having placed this under international control, Kenya domesticated the 3 international conventions on drug control through the enactment of Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act. Section 2 of the Act defines psychotropic substance as any substance specified. In fact, I even don't need to talk about this because Kevin elaborated on where the challenge is. It is that legal framework, starting from the international conventions that we are signatories and after customizing them, that is where we find ourselves in. If you look at the act that schedules the Miraa as a drug, this was the 1994. 1994, NACADA was not even in existence. So you can see that really for those who think that it's NACADA that has done this, NACADA is nowhere. NACADA is simply coordinating implementation of the international convention, which has been customized into our legal framework. And the people who implement the narcotic control and the anti-narcotic police unit, of course, under the same ministry. So what I want to say here is that going forward, we need the science to challenge the World Health Organization's survey or assessment. Once this is done, then even the governor knows the way to go. If we can, join hands with sufficient research and science, then we can very easily petition the CND to remove, because it also has a mandate to remove, when there's evidence to prove that you are mitigated against these harmful compounds, harmful substances in Miraa. And I want to also support the directive by the minister yesterday when he was here, that we need to put together a team, interministerial, bring other relevant stakeholders, so that we can together chart a way on how to move forward. But so long as these things are under control, both in our law and in the conventions to which we are signatories, I think we will be going the wrong way if we start, and we must balance the commercial interest and the harm public health. That is where we need to carry the debate. And NACADA, like the chair has assured, is a friend and will be part of the team that wants to find a solution to this stalemate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Asante sana. I wish now to invite the MD KEBS to make his remarks. Let us appreciate him as he comes.
Allow me to remove this. I'm quite far from you. Your Excellency, the Governor, Miraa County, Honorable Kiraitu Mrugi, Deputy Governor, the Chair, NACADA, my colleague CEO from NACADA, the academia, stakeholders, professionals, students that are here with us this morning, this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Bernard Jiraini. I'm the Managing Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards, the agency that is responsible for governing and maintaining standards, metrology, and conformity assessment in the Republic of Kenya. I appreciate that we have been invited to this National Scientific Miraa Conference to be able to give our input as far as standardization and quality of Miraa is concerned. It's a great opportunity for me as well to be able to articulate on our processes, to be able to encourage value addition. But I'm quite disappointed to be one of the last persons to speak, especially after the CEO NACADA has delivered his message. I know it's quite difficult for both of us to navigate. It's a delicate balancing act as regulators to state the facts the way they are, and also align ourselves to the realities that there is, especially in Miraa County, where this product is their mainline cash flow that they depend on. Recently, when I was campaigning for a position in the ISO Council, because the International Organization for Standardization has members just like the UN, I had to talk to the CEOs of the national standard bodies across the world. One of them that I spoke to is the CEO of Jamaica, and he assured me he was going to vote for me as long as I'm going to support a standard in ganja. If my late mother had the conversation we had with him, she would be shocked what we were discussing, because he was insisting that I need to support standardization of marijuana as a standard at the global level, because I'm not just joining the International Organization for Standardization for the sake of it. And I told him I also want support for CAT, Miraa. And our conversation yielded results, because ultimately I was elected as a council member at the international level. I would like to say that as I stand here this afternoon, I'm happy because I'm aware quite a number of professionals here, stakeholders, and members of the technical committees that help us to formulate standards. Standard development is not a docket done by KEBS. We just provide a framework and a platform as a secretariat to development of standards. Standards are developed by stakeholders, and we have over 200 technical committees that are involved in development of standards. And I would like in my presentation to highlight the processes for development of standards to encourage both young professionals and old to participate in standard development so that they can give their inputs. If I give you, for example, the medical grade mask that you're wearing on, it has been developed by a number of professionals, manufacturers. We're talking about KEMRI, Kenyatta Hospital, universities. Everybody is involved, and they decide on parameters, whether it is the material, the reply, the level of efficacy expected. When we talk about KN95, we're talking about the percentage of efficiency, the dimensions, and everything that is involved. And that is why the technical committees are very important to join us. It's an open process where we advertise for everybody to join in. So my scope of presentation is basically to highlight our mandate as a national standard body, as a regulator, as well as also in charge of the national standards. Standardization, I would want to give it a bit more emphasis because we are here talking, yes, to people who are interested in value addition of Miraa and other products as well. Conformity assessment and what it entails, and the support so far that we have given within the confines of the regulations that are there, based on NACADA. KEBS was established by an Act of Parliament 496 of the laws of Kenya way back in 1974 through the support of the German government, and they established our laboratories that have capability, and we have kept on advancing the technology for measurement, increasing the precision and the scope of tests that we undertake. We have also decentralized these services across the country. We are in 6 regions and other satellite offices, including Meru, where we have. We would like to thank the governor for allocating us a land to be able to establish a bigger office, set up laboratories to cater for the counties within that region. Let us appreciate it. Our vision is to be a global leader in standard-based solution that promotes confidence and quality. And for us to be able to achieve that wonderful dream, we have a mission to provide standard-based solutions that promote innovation, trade, and quality life. And that is what we endeavor to do. We are part of the integrated quality infrastructure system that entails the standard development, methodology, conformity assessment, and also KENAS, which is another agency for accreditation, is hyped off from the national quality infrastructure. So this is how we are all connected, that we develop standards, and these standards you cannot develop them without the measurement capabilities. That is why you require calibration through methodology, and then you cannot test without the standards. So they are all interconnected, and Kenya operates as an integrated system where it is one holistic system solution. As you are aware, standards form the basis for common understanding. It's not possible for us to communicate. It's not possible for us to be able to transact internationally without standards. And therefore, standards are very important. That is why I highlighted that the first thing, for anything to happen, there must be a standard. That is why there will be no growth in this crop until we establish standards. We unlock, and I want to appreciate the convener of this convention or this conference to be able to unlock the potential that is there. That until we are able to navigate a way out to be able to set the standards, then the value addition will continue, and that is what is going to promote the growth of the crop and the industry. Because remember, Kenya Bureau of Standards, one of the mandates is to facilitate trade. And trade facilitation is done through standardization and improvement of quality. We also do conformity assessment, and that is inspection of product that comes into the country. And we have a elaborate system that we do that through pre-shipment inspection and inspection of goods as they come to the country, and market surveillance as well. I do not want to dwell much on other issues. We have a process where we develop standards. It's a process that sometimes takes long, and this is based on the International Standard Organization, a good standardization practice, where I propose, for example, any innovator or any person, given someone who wants to value add the product that we are discussing here, need to make a request to us as KEBS, as a proposal that will be subject to discussion by the technical committees, and that is why we are encouraging members that are interested to join the technical committee. It will be discussed over a period of time, and they will agree on the parameters. There will be public review and balloting, thereafter approval and publication. As standards are developed, notification is done by the National Standard Council through the Kenya Gazette, and that is what we talk about, gazetted standards that are voluntary. Until now, again, it is subjected to the Parliamentary Committee on Delegated Legislation. It is gazetted and become mandatory as a standard. Standards provide for product requirements and include labeling, safety parameters, and quality parameters. It's a process of determining, this is conformity assessment, of course. Let me just speak about product certification, because I know what we require here as we have come up with product is the standard mark that is going to give you the license now to be able to sell it in any shop. The product certification scheme is we conduct product certification scheme that require manufacturers to establish quality control measures within their production system. The raw materials, of course, you have to show the control. You have to demonstrate you have capability in the in-process production system, that you have control measures, that the output product coming out of your process is consistent and you have control, is predictable, it is repeatable every other time. Whether you are controlling pressure, temperature, or the parameters that you're doing, you must establish the control mechanisms. Then the post-production system. And we are very keen in ensuring that when we certify you, we have agreed together that you are going to be producing that product based on the sample you presented to us, we tested, and the results are going to be the same all through. We continuously monitor the product through our quality assurance department, and again in the market we pick and subject them to the test through the market surveillance department. And this is an agreement that is binding, signed between two of us, and if there is failure to compliance, we definitely withdraw the permits. Provisions are there in the Act for us to take also further action, prosecution, for you to knowingly or making or failure to institute systems that are going to ensure that what you're producing is okay. Well, so you start with the application. the manufacturer should notify KEBS of intention to manufacture. Section 10 of the Standard Act, 496. Application review, the review of the application document to determine if the product is within the scope and there are documented specifications. Currently, there are no basic standards to guide the review process for Miraa-based products. Evaluation, inspection and testing of commodities to ascertain compliance with the approved standard specification as per the ISO IEC 17065/7.4. Inspection is based on the requirements set in the Code of Hygienic Practice in Food and Drink Manufacturing Industry and respective product commodity standard. This is a verification tool to establish compliance with respect to food safety parameters, quality parameters, labeling parameters. Currently, there is no standard for value-added Miraa product, juices, wine, chewing, to guide on the inspection testing of the same. Review and certification decision. The certification committee considers the inspection report and laboratory test report during certification decision as per the ISO 17065. The absence of the relevant food safety standard for Miraa-based substance means there is no clear basis to certify the product. The support that we've given so far to Miraa sector is that KEBS, together with other stakeholders, we have developed Kenya National Working Agreement 2019-40, 2020 Miraa Industry Code of Practice. The code stipulates the hygienic and safety requirements during the production, agronomic practices, handling and marketing of Miraa. This is what we have done so far this year, and this is an initiative from the current management to try to promote the product as a hygienic product. Like the future woman who spoke to us, he said that the packaging, you see, like if you want to see coffee in its true nature, the appearance, and then you look at the dormants, packaged, the aroma, it is appealing. So we are talking about a code that is going to encourage the hygienic preservation of the cat itself, so that as much as we talk about value addition, we can start in the raw nature and promote packaging the way it can be done for our consumers locally and for those countries that it is still not illegal. Crop Act number 16 classifies Miraa as a crop. The Act, however, provides for established Miraa regulations. This is yet to be done, and this forum is appropriate for discussions on the way forward on how this can be done. Clause 12.10 of the Kenya National Working Agreement 2940 provides for analysis of Miraa to verify produce pesticide residue status, which is very important again because our mandate as KEBS is to protect safety and health of consumers, and we want to assure the consumers who are now knowledgeable that the Miraa do not have pesticide residues. I know there is application of pesticide nowadays. Traditionally, it was not there, and we need to guarantee the consumers that this product is safe, and this is likely again to enhance the market penetration. Guideline requirements on residue of interest and acceptable levels have not been developed. The undesirable discussion this morning, obviously, we cannot depart here without mentioning that Miraa contain cathepsin and cathinone, and these are controlled prohibited substances under section Schedule 2 of narcotic drug and psychotropic substance at Cap 245 of 1994, which has become an impediment for us to be able to develop a standard that will guide all the parameters on this product. This is a challenge that we are all gathered here to discuss the scientific way on how we can lobby through our networks, through our scientific research, based so that we unlock the potential that is there. Section 87 of the Act gives minister powers to amend any controlled substance under first, second, and third schedule. Amendment or review of the Act with respect to control of Miraa is therefore critical. Areas of concern for value-added Miraa product, Miraa causes psychological dependency and is known to be addictive to users. This is a debatable statement, but of course not stated by KEBS. Clear guidelines on use of general public acceptable age of users labeling information warning should be developed. And this, of course, has been witnessed in many other products that are existing in the market. The question of access of value-added Miraa product to minors must as well be addressed. Miraa, again, I have this statement here. These are controlled substances, hence the question is Miraa a drug? Yes, that is the answer from the audience. Miraa is classified as a drug and prohibited for sale in some of our partner states, like for example Tanzania. There is a risk of exportation of the product in the EAC region, hence classification of our trade as a drug dealer that may arise. Published standards are, and I want to emphasize here, published standards are the basis of product certification. We do not have published standards to guide on quality, safety labeling, and testing of Miraa containing product. Hence, as we think of the value addition of Miraa, the 4 areas we need to address includes: is it possible to develop and certify value-added product from Miraa? Collaboration from all agencies, including community groups and farmers, is necessary. Research to set limits or thresholds for carbon and cadmium in value-added product is important. Product specification standard developed by stakeholders will unlock the industry, and this can be achieved through collaborative work. I have come to the end of my presentation. I know it was brief. My background is I'm an engineer, but I have a backup support of all scientists from all sectors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us appreciate him once more. I know it is not very pleasant, but from the side, we said Miraa is not a now we want to have a plenary session so that we also hear from the information from you. Chair of the session. Okay, if you want to say something or to ask something, either you want, let us start with the governor. His Excellency the governor. A mic will be brought where you are, so you don't have to.
Thank you very much. I think our presenters have done a good job. Can you appreciate them? Of course, yesterday we hosted NACADA here. That was because of the statement we had from the officer in Mombasa. Facilitating our job for allowing that to go to Mombasa tax-free, which we agreed to regulated well. So you understand the emotions, around that. You can see our people ahead. We have Miraa whiskey, we have Miraa wine, we have Miraa juices, we have Miraa sweets, and we are waiting to use them. In fact, yesterday, when we were not satisfied, we took them. very clear for doing this. And personally, I think I understood it even more. Because I was in Parliament in 1894. We had also passed this law. And that time, Mheshimiwa Jackson Karwell was the minister who was moving this out because he was the minister of state in the office of the president. And we were very careful to make sure the land is not banned. So the neighbor please, Maure, me, Maure, the area, went to see Karwell in his office to tell him to make sure that Miraa is not banned as we are passing in this law. And among the list who are looking for cards, Miraa, or anyone that we know which will become near Miraa. So of course it was not there. So we passed this law without knowing that we were banning Miraa, because we specifically put the list that Miraa should not be banned. The act was very, as you said, it was an explication of Waliwe Convention. It was very sophisticated, a lot of science in it. Not many police understood, what it was. I never had of cabin, I never had of government. This was I came to know when we were going to run the other thing. So, actually, it was passed by mistake. We alone would have moved this cabin and the government from that. It's not about because we do not know. And I think the solution now, I think we need to read this section in the service to see whether it needs to go back to Parliament, whether the minister has power himself, without going to Parliament, to amend the list so that we can remove them to go and see. Yeah, so I think we should not continue condemning NACADA because NACADA is an implemental law. I think that technical committee that we are forming should be the one to assist us to remove this bottleneck, which was created by ignorance of the members of Parliament. Because if we had known it, it would have passed, for sure. So I think that's very mistaken, and I think it is time for us now that we know to go and correct it. We also appreciate what KEBS is doing. The fact that marijuana is accepted internationally now. In fact, when I was in Canada the other day, we were there in Canada with it. There are somebody who was asking us whether we can provide a farm in Kenya for him to come and grow marijuana here and export and this export process is over. So that marijuana is not consumed in Kenya, but we can produce for him and export it to Canada because there it is. Even allowed not only for medical purposes, but also for recreation. And so many states in the US have also accepted it in Holland and in other in the coffeehouse. So I don't see why Miraa should continue to be banned when those other substances are being freely consumed in Europe or America. So I think it is time for us to act in our own interests. We should not blindly follow what is in international conventions and all that. This law should be made in the interest of Kenyans. I think that's what I have to say. We have to protect the fundamental interests of people, even as we make law. The Bible says, it is the law which is made for man, not man for the law. And the ordinary laws here, I know some of them, like There's a lot called pyramid. You have heard of it. They say you marry in church, and then you marry another wife after you marry that one. Then you have committed a criminal offense, and you can be jailed for minimum of 7 years. But how many men have married here? The group is very senior people. So that law has never been implemented. There is no telling who has to go to jail because he married another woman after he married in church. So I'm also calling for moratorium for this other one. As we are waiting to see how we can amend it, ask our enforcement agencies, do what you are doing with the BM. They are not clear of people in the process. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you so much. Please, another hearty clap for the governor. My friend Edwaki, you got the floor, but give me just some few seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the presentation from the NACADA and the KEBS. And you know, these two institutions from yesterday, they actually have been our enemies. But at least now things are coming that we now hear what they are saying. Let us make them our friend. Let them also be our advisor, specifically on the issue of the Cathine and the Cathino and NACADA. That is the threshold. How do we contain it so that at least now we comply? I'm not asking a question, but I just want to provoke our people as they prepare their questions on this one. On the KEBS, it's true, KEBS is all about the standards. And what actually has even come out clearly is that because of what inhibits them, they have not yet come up with a standard code on even how to address the products from Miraa, the juice, the wine, so that they can be able to issue their product certification. There is also the issue, they have said that yes, they have developed a code of practice for Miraa, but again, on the law side, they are again inhibited. How? The Miraa regulations have also not yet come out. And also the other bit now on the Cathine and the Cathino. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, I know we have to go for tea. Even lunch now is just about, it is now lunch. But please, since you all know that these two institutions are really our crux of the matter here, and they are here, please, let's just address them. Please address them. The jar can wait, everything else can wait, kidogo, but please, let's not come out of this room asking a lot of questions to people that are not capable of replying them. The owners are here. And the governor, I think this conference is historical. It actually going to clear all the issues and give us proper way forward, or proceed from now on. So please, can we now proceed? On Iruaki, so the floor, please. And please take minimal time and be specific and to the point. Continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Governor, and all the members. This I want to say before I even ask what you have received, why you have taken also Miraa. I know when I was in Parliament, I was in the annual committee of Miraa. And in that annual committee, that is where I proposed even the question of the recharge. That's what I proposed that before along, all the recharge done before was to prove how Miraa was bad. Then we said, you know, when you set up to do a recharge, it is the objective that determine what you get. And we asked for an objective standard of Miraa. And I was glad. They asked about funding, and we said you were in government, and government will provide the funds. That is how came we got funding for this research in Miraa. I know also when we changed the Act of Parliament of the Annual Committee of Miraa, Governor, you are also the Senator of Meru. And when the Act was stuck in Senate, I came to you and we spoke, and again you unstuck. Many people may not know. It is Governor Kerai who contributed to unstacking, and he reduced it and laid in Senate for many months, for almost a year. But he came again, he used his machinery in the government, and then Miraa was made a Castro, and then we went to the State House, and I say, again, under his leadership, with His Excellency, when the bill was signed to make Miraa a new crop, we clap for the governor. And again, this, you have also done what you have done here today. I mean, what you have done through this conference, Miraa has been an orphan. Miraa has been without a parent. Miraa has been without a father. Now you have become a father of Miraa. And with all your connection with the government, you have been able to bring the whole government together. So again, that has been from I used to like this guy called who said, Muganda Mugwe na haki mpe. Government has done his bit, and I think Miraa will have the right trajectory. Now what I'm asking our team here in this room, we have the people who are involved with the research, and we are doing this also in a university. University is where the knowledge is developed. We have received also the universities involved with the research and also the other centers. So what I'm asking is maybe the NACADA, also the KEBS, where there are bottlenecks, those areas, what we need to do. Would you like, also you can see what would be your challenge, you can be assisted through also politics. That is so where politics come. Even this meeting is also because of politics. So then you can be supported, and then you come up with those regulations, you come up framework, and then we know what happens in every country. You look even in America, what they are not interested in, if they know it will injure their interest, even the COP, when they have these the meetings and what climate change, if there are issues that will affect their interest, they refuse to sign. You see also the signer. So why should we be signing also those conventions, whatever comes from the international community, when it is hindering our interests as our people? So again, we are asking this gathering, we are asking also the leaders who are here involved, guide us and let, but also your president again, not to be yesterday, bring the minister yesterday here of interior and coordination. Then you have also seen from the regulation, the minister can. I think that the minister, I was not able to say, should be the minister who is in charge of the industry. That is where the KEBS is. So can it change? Given the evidence from the research that this is not harmful, the way that is going to set up those substances, and I think that we can move. So I want to thank you, Madam Governor, and then our team, let us have this collaborative approach, and then we can move our community ahead. The other thing about the Miraa, the drugs, we can make medicine from Miraa. We have seen from the church. Let that also move forward. That was my fear when I was proposing the church from Cambridge. Because I knew when the Chinese or other people come and discover what is in Miraa, they will take away, just the Japanese took the Kyoto and it became theirs. It is from here, then it was patented by the Japanese. So even Miraa, if we don't move quickly, someone can come and take it up, and then they are selling what is ours.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Please let us all cooperate. I've given him more time. He has been a lawmaker, so he was quite a few those issues. But please, let's go straight to the point. I know, of course, the governor has done a lot. Definitely, we all give him accolades. Please, let us direct these questions to these two institutions as of now. So at least now we save on time. So, Pana Kili, please, take minimum time and to the point.
Thank you, Chairman. His Excellency, the Governor of Meru County, all protocols observed. I'm Kili Dan.
James, prepare from there.
I'm thankful for this event. My question, or rather, I direct my complaints to the NACADA. I think when we had the Europe market blacklisted, our team went there. And the commission that advises the European government on issues of drugs gave the verdict that Miraa is not a drug.
And the issue of cardine and cardamom, if we say we remove cardine and cardamom, it means there is no Miraa. Because that's all what we look for when we are chewing. The other thing, there's a time I was arrested carrying Miraa in China, Guangzhou. And they took the Miraa to the laboratory. And the result came out. I was set free unconditionally. Because the substances they found in Miraa were of no adverse effect on human beings. Finally, we feel as if the NACADA is biased when they are taking on us. Because we've seen the effect on smoking of cigarettes and other cigarette products. I think the effect of cigarette smoking is more harmful and more adverse harmful than chewing of Miraa, even if they are effective. Therefore, I think NACADA should go slow, please, on us, while our leaders look for a way on how to make the relevant laws conducive and friendly to us, the Miraa farmers and traders. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to having NACADA cooperate with us. Because we have taken them to court almost 3 times. Now we don't want to take them to court. Please let them negotiate and give us space while things are settled.
Thank you. And NACADA, please know you are our friend. Whatever language you can use, also guide us, because this crop is our livelihood. So you can see the temper can be quite a bit. James, Kiro, then James, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think KEBS, I have 2 issues here. There's a bit of blame game between KEBS and NACADA. From the Meru Investment and Development Corporation, we've spoken to a few people who want to invest in value addition of Miraa. And they tell us, we ask them, why can't you upscale or why can't you progress? And they tell us, we don't have the KEBS mark of quality to enable us to take the product to the shops or to go full scale manufacturing. I have personally talked to somebody from KEBS, sent somebody there, and the response they brought back was that KEBS saying that they are not able to certify a product that is based on a raw material that has been classified as a drug by NACADA. Yeah? So KEBS has now passed the back to NACADA. Now I think we're being told that what NACADA did, it domesticated an international law, which I think one of the questions we'd like to hear from the gentleman is in Netherlands and Canada, where we're being told to plant marijuana, which is much more potent than Miraa, in my view. Is it that they did not domesticate that law? One. And then in Netherlands and all those places where they sell marijuana cookies, marijuana this and that, and it's allowed, and you get a receipt and nobody arrests them. Number 2, KEBS, the CEO has told us that when we were talking to your counterpart in Jamaica, he wanted standardization of marijuana. But marijuana is much more available legally elsewhere. So what is it that the standards bodies in those countries are doing to enable people to have value-added products with marijuana that we can do? Because I'm sure, I don't know, we need to also find out whether everybody who is selling anything that has marijuana did not domesticate that international law. So mine is those 2, what is it that we can do? And have the other people domesticated the laws?
Thank you, Mr. Command, Chair of the Investment Corporation. So please, NACADA and the KEBS, get that one. You could not certify because the raw material that made the product were from a drug. So what would happen if you get a cure of cancer from a product from marijuana? So,
Thank you so much, Chair, Your Excellency, Your Governor. I have 2 questions. One, to NACADA. For the CEO, what do you do to a law, an international law that's domesticated, but is inconsistent with your laws, national laws, and your interests? We are telling you that Miraa was locked in law via the Amendment of Crops Act, therefore it's legal, it's a crop, it's a cooler. And then we are also telling you that Miraa is recognized in the Agricultural and Food Crops Act. So to the extent that these laws you are quoting from WHO
is inconsistent with these two. Which one prevails and what do you do? Number two, I think you are the cause of our problem. Because in the domesticated law, they talked of cardinal and cardinal. They never give the ratios. Hawakusema cardinal class E ama level E. Neither did you tell us what levels of cardinal and cardinal in Miraa, so that you bring it in your report that Miraa is actually outlawed as a result of this regulation. In any case, you are the one who love Miraa. And I think, without going far, you can as well again knock off Miraa from your reports. You don't have to go far. These are low-lying fruits that you can do as you wait for other things to happen. Number two, you tell us that the minister can amend some schedule. Can you tell us whether the schedule that contains Miraa is amendable by a minister? If that's not possible, then again, we'll go back to a parliament. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. I think let to Daktari, Reverend, please, you'll be the last on this one, so we can go to the next. Yes. Okay. I saw the hat from. Yes. The Minister for Health, County.
Thank you very much.
Abana, please, I'm giving you.
Okay. Thank you very much. A background on me, I am a priest, a Catholic priest. I'm also a psychologist, trained in the US. So what I'm going to say is going to be very hard. That's what I do to my friends. If you want to become our friends, I love friends who are straight and open. The first thing is the pharmacological and the chemical content of Miraa that we have gone through yesterday and today does not seem to be as dangerous as other products that are in the market, which have been mentioned by the governor and others. And as a psychologist, if you give me two people who are sober and they are for coordinates equal, I subject them to Miraa, and the other one I subject him to the hardcore drinks that are being sold to our youth. The alcoholic drinks being sold to our youth do damage faster than the Miraa. Long before Miraa becomes they are damaged. So here you have a double standard. You have a double standard. And being a national institution, that discriminates on us. That's the first thing. The second related to that, and it was mentioned yesterday by the agricultural, CS Agriculture, is are you two institutions culturally discriminating us and participating in discriminating our market at the international level? Are we so low or poor, we do not have the financial muscle and political muscle that makes you allow some products that are more lethal and potent than Miraa, but you leave us? Are you discriminating us? 3, states act out of self-interest. So is the international law made like that. So if you use the international law to reduce entrepreneurship, innovation in our country, you as institutions are actually destroying what the president wants to do, increase entrepreneurship and innovation. If there is issues in what we are doing, everyone allows their citizens to make mistakes just as you allow your children. Point to us, this as one mistake, this needs to be corrected, but you don't kill the entrepreneurship and the innovation in the name of following international law, which China is also signatory to international law. So is US, Japan is there. So what is it? And Israel is there. They make their mistakes in the innovation, but they end up coming with a better product. You are killing entrepreneurship and innovation in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your information. So please, I can assure you, everybody's question will be answered, but we also want to respond to those few before we go to the next. We are having another round altogether. But to close this round, Mishek Mutuma, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Mishek Mutuma. Let me admit, I am a Miraa farmer, and I also chew Miraa, just like the way my father and grandfather were doing. My main area of concern is concerning the two substances, the caffeine and cathonine. I have read a lot of literature concerning the two substances. They are classified as mild stimulants. Indeed, the quantities of those substances we have in Miraa is not much. It is in low form, which is actually safe for use by human beings. So what I'm noting here is actually a lot of biasness concerning this crop. One, we have other substances like nicotine. If you ask me a fundamental question between the two substances and nicotine, which one is more toxic to human being? Between these ones and alcohol, which one is more toxic to human being? So our friends, we require your assistance in coming up with ways we can regulate this substance. We regulate the age of chewing. We also regulate the hours of chewing so that we can have this crop straight away in the market to stop killing this very good industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So please now let me invite NACADA to make some yes, Sankaran.
I would like to draw the attention of the camera to section 16 of the same act. It actually does not totally ban these drugs and psychotropic substances. We just want them to be controlled. And section 16 requires the minister to establish a board consisting of Attorney General, Director of Criminal Investigations, and other people. And this board can issue licenses for sale, manufacture, production, and distribution of any narcotic drug of psychotropic substance. So what has not happened is that the minister has not established this board. Because the board can sit and then it can make regulations for sale, manufacture of these products we are talking about, distribution, and even export of the same. So I think we need to focus, as we are sitting in the committee, on these powers which the minister has, which have not been exercised.
Thank you, Your Excellency. NACADA, as you respond to this, the governor has given that very nice information.
I think actually the governor, I thought they summed up this issue and said that the law is the problem. And you know, we can spend a lot of time here blaming each other, but we can't move. Unless we address the law, we can't move anywhere. And let me also make it very clear that NACADA does not, under the constitutive law of NACADA, which is the National Authority for the Campaign Against Drug and Substance Control, against Alcohol and Drug Control Act. That is the law that declares NACADA. The other law that gives us mandate is actually the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act. The Anti-Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Act is not even an act that we implement ourselves as NACADA. It is actually for the police and the anti-narcotic police unit, mainly for enforcement purposes. And you tell me, those who say NACADA has been frustrating you. By the way, we have not met anywhere where you are operating. Yeah, because we do not have the vehicles. You move to the market, you take your drugs elsewhere, but I can tell you, the issue is the law. And if you take us to court, you not, because we did not do the law ourselves. 2017, we only did a survey, which we do, and I've told you, even alcohol is more of a problem than Miraa. This is just a survey we do. The other thing which is more problematic before Miraa is actually tobacco products. These are surveys we do, and we put it there for you to decide. Alcohol breweries is running, and it generates a lot of revenue in the country. We are not fighting them. What we are saying, to assist each other, let us address the law. That is the only way we are going to get out of this. And indeed, like Waziri has said, the governor has said, because I used to engage with him when he was Waziri more. That's why I'm still calling him Waziri. He is actually. The board was provided for under the Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Act. But as you know, the law is also going through a review. In fact, there is a new Anti-Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Amendment Act, which went to the president, and I think because of some issues that were there, it was returned. I don't know where it is. Perhaps the best thing we need to do urgently is to engage before it is finalized because it was referred back to Parliament. Let's find out where it is, and let's see whether we have an opportunity to amend some sections within that law before it becomes law. But I can tell you all the questions you are raising here, it's not about NACADA, it is about, as somebody told me, the conventions we kind of customized. That is a constitutional requirement. The governor can explain. He's a very senior lawyer in this country. It is a constitution which makes it mandatory or obligates us to customize these international conventions. And this law was made in 1994. NACADA was not in existence at that time. And you are condemning NACADA for a law which was actually enacted before it was there. Let us act together and see how we can resolve the challenge provided to farmers by the law. That is the only way we can get out of this. I don't need to answer all, because all of them are condemning NACADA for something that we have we are only just implementing the law as it is.
They were banned by the court.
I want to say that, no, I think there's some question that I wrote down here I need to respond to. So I want to say, Governor, the board was never constituted until this law went through an amendment. It is already provided for in the current one which I have seen, and we need to engage the minister. The minister can make amendments, but the constitutional requirement that you have to customize the conventions that you are signatory to, he has to address them. This is the fact. The other issue that I think I need to talk about is even in our neighborhood, as we are talking about the market, even in our neighborhoods. I was in Mauritius another time, and there are so many Kenyans who are in prison there for having been found with Miraa. So as we are looking for the commercial interest, we need to fix these things, and we need to engage even our partners in the East African region to accept that this is, and we must mitigate the harm that has been documented by science. That way we cannot run away from it. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, please, we can see things are revolving around the law, but since we are hearing, I don't want to repeat it to save on time. KEBS, please, can you respond to the issues that are touching on that area? But they should really come out fast. Kenya first.
Thank you very much for the questions that have been raised that also revolves around the same, taking us back to the same source, where we say that published standards are the basis for product certification. Without standards that have been published, gazetted, we cannot do product certification. We cannot give you a permit for a juice, yogurt, wine, unless they are published standards. So we must refer back again to how now do we make published standards. Obviously, we need requests from interested parties for these standards. But again, as the technical committee sits, they must answer the questions of the provisions of a standards of a controlled product. So it takes us back again in that chart back to we have to address the issue of legality and how we get ourselves from the conventions that we have ratified. And they are also tied to other things. I think the governor is an expert in this area. But we also stated that the minister has powers to waive, and that is, I'm not an expert in that on how that can be done, because it may likely take us back there. The FD for the Jamaica National Standards Body was expressing his frustration that the country, first of all, has not seen any issue of ganja, that is what he called it, that is cannabis, and was trying to make an appeal to one of the prospecting countries, to the International Organization of Standardization, where standards are formulated and made, that when I'm sitting in that and that request is made, then we should support the standards. As far as I'm concerned, even standards for cannabis are not there. So, as we discuss this matter, we have to address the issue of limit effect of cathine and cadmium, which, again, from the experts, is what makes Miraa what Miraa is. Without it, but of course, we can talk about the limits, because I know even nicotine or even alcohol, the limits is a subject matter that the control is what really affects. And maybe if that impediment is withdrawn, then that is how now the standard is formulated, that we are going to put all the parameters. This is when we talk about mycotoxins in maize. We are saying, yes, maize has a chance, especially in tropical Africa, to have a toxin. But our bodies are able to tolerate 10 parts per billion. In the US, it is 20 parts per billion, based on probably they don't consume maize a lot. So scientific studies have known that it's not the carcinogenic effects are likely to be diminished based on the quantities that you're taking. When we talk even about fertilizer, we have heavy metals. And we are discussing about the limits, and that is the discussion for the technical committee to discuss, the experts themselves, on what is the limit. So this is what I can say for now. I believe that those that took the juice yesterday, it is also a discussion where we want to, because at one point there's a gentleman who did a chewing gum out of the product. and how to sustain its life so that the effect is there. It's also a process now that the scientists here in this room need to discuss. As we unlock the legal aspect, the scientists need to do their work as well and understand how the chemical is going to be sustained, stable, and retain its effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. NACADA and KEBS. In fact, thank you so much for, please give them a clap. And in your response, I think also you have I can see also part of it, we're going to overload our governor. Because we are referring to, the governor knows, we know that. But please don't forget, he's the governor of Miraa County and driving this conference. So let us not go back home now and also start blaming the governor that he knows this, so I have not done this. So what we are telling you is that, please, where there's an issue on your side, and one of us had raised, I think it was James, that if there's an issue that is inhibiting you to do something, let us actually all know. Let us know, and most probably even in writing, so that at least now we can be able now to attack or direct the way it's supposed to go. The other area is also that KEBS, in fact KEBS should be on the front line, build Kenya, buy Kenya. So please, how do we promote our young innovators that are once now coming up to ensure that at least they sell these products in the market by getting their product certified? So I think those are the issues when you have the next round, please can be able to expound. Please, let us all agree now that major questions have come up. If you want something burning, we will not prevent you. But please don't repeat what somebody else had just asked earlier. Please don't repeat. Because I don't want you to go home and then find that I was not allowed to ask this one. So allow me, if we can have maybe another last 4. But time. From all the delegates, we say that at least what was directed to KEBS and NACADA is representative of all of us what could have asked, and that at least now even the body needs to be energized that we can break off for lunch. I think with that, I now end my session, but please let us actually sincerely thank our governor for this conference. It has really opened us properly where we didn't know now, we have known. And I'm sure we shall go home very informed people. So, Wanakimani, please now.
Okay, thank you.
The chair is vacant.
Thank you. Let us appreciate the chair. Let us appreciate everyone. Yes. NACADA and all of us. We'll break for lunch now. When we come back, we'll do, I think, 2 presentations. Then the chief rapporteur, Dr. Bundi, we're going to do the highlights. Then the professor, you give your presentation when we come back to lunch. Okay. Father, break for lunch. We are praying for lunch. Then we'll come back after 45 minutes.
Okay, some silence, please. Oh, it is not like it's making noise, no problem. Let us pray.